Good night, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here this evening, and I am really happy to see that the residents from this district has come out in support of Margot Durant Calendar. So I want to take a moment and welcome the residents from Water Street, Church Hill, Gall Hill, and Silver Hill. And I want to say to you that, like you, I am here to support Margot Durant Calendar, to be the representative for the constituency of Christchurch West Central. Now allow me to tell you how very special Margot Durant Calendar is. Margot, like me, came to the Barbados Labour Party with a passion in her heart to represent some people. And Margot faced nominations, not even one, but two. Margot faced you. She asked you for your support, and you gave her that support. Margot was duly nominated to be the candidate for Christchurch West Central. And from all the reports that I have heard thus far, she is doing a tremendous job. And you know it. I too faced a nomination. I fought for the right to represent the constituency of Christchurch West. And having gained that opportunity, I have pledged to the people of Christchurch West that I will work unfailingly. I will ensure that they receive good representation. And today I stand here in support not just of Margot, not just of all the Christchurch candidates, but you know that I stand here in support of females in politics, because I believe that with the woman being the greatest constituency in Barbados, that it is only fitting that more women come to politics, be involved in the process, take a special interest in your concerns. But I want to take a moment to speak about a candidate that I cannot find it in my heart to endorse. And that is my opponent. She too faced a nomination. But unlike Margot, and unlike myself, she did not win the right to be considered the duly selected candidate for her constituency. No. In fact, she was beaten. And she was not beaten by 1 vote or 2 votes or even 5. The outcome was 85 to 5, with her receiving 5 votes. She was beaten bad. Had she been beaten any worse, they would have had to call the police for abuse. But instead of graciously accepting her loss, like a person of integrity would do, she insisted that she be selected to be the candidate. And to the concern of everybody in Christchurch, a person who gained the most votes was removed from that position. They were never endorsed. And instead, someone who had never gained the confidence of the people of Christchurch, not even from the branch of the Democratic Labour Party, was installed as the candidate of Christchurch West. And I am saying tonight that that is a disgrace. What is her legitimacy to this candidacy? Where does it exist? She did not win the right. She has no moral authority, no political authority to stand as a candidate tomorrow. None whatsoever. But you know, if that was the only transgression, we might say, we don't understand their politics, so we will leave that alone. But we had a very interesting scenario playing out before us on Sunday. And I will spare a few moments just to tell you about it. We had a cricket tournament in Christchurch West. It was called the Christchurch West 2020 Cricket Tournament. It was a tournament that afforded the young people of the constituency to participate in a community event. I made a contribution. I am not certain, but I believe that she might have made a contribution too. And it was amazing that whereas we had a presentation ceremony on Sunday, that I encountered the most furious individual because the Barbados Labour Party representative and supporters were on that ground. It was as though we did not belong. And so upset was she that it has been reported to me, and I am saying it was reported because I did not open anything. But I can tell you that people expressed concern that what had been promised to them, that they felt they had been shortchanged. And I want to know tonight, was there shortchange? And I am asking the question because it seems to me that this principle of shortchanging people is a characteristic of the Democratic Labour Party. She has not yet come to office, and I am going to make sure she never comes to office. But even having not come to office, already breaking promises and shortchanging people. A vote for her is a vote to be shortchanged. But you know, what we have discovered over the past 5 years is that a vote for any Democratic Labour Party operative was a vote to be shortchanged. And for the past 5 years, we have endured shortchange, shortchange, shortchange. Friends, I will chronicle for you how you have been shortchanged in the last 5 years. The Democratic Labour Party came to power on a promise that they were going to make life easy for you. They condemned the Barbados Labour Party, saying that we could not deal with the cost of living because we were in bed with big business, that they were going to take you into their fold, they were going to make life better for you. They stated, and I will quote, page 7 of their manifesto, a Democratic Labour Party will explore the feasibility of removing VAT from all utility bills, domestic and commercial. This was their promise to reduce, in part, the cost of living to you. You believe them. You believe them. Now note that I am not even going anywhere near an interest-free mortgage loan nor a duty-free car, because those promises were just too unbelievable. So I am taking an issue which even I believe, and that was a simple removal of VAT on electricity bills and water bills and any other utility bill that you may have that would have made a difference to your monthly obligation. But what did the Democratic Labour Party do? from removing VAT on all utility bills, domestic and commercial, the first thing that their prime minister did was to raise the cost of energy. That was his first act as prime minister. And not only did every single utility bill that you had go up in one fell swoop, but they turned around and far from removing the VAT, they increased it from 15% to 17.5%. You get shortchanged. You are now paying more for utilities than you have ever paid before. And let us face it, if you have a job, and for those of you who are lucky to have a job, your utility obligations take up a considerable amount of your salary. You can look at your salary today and you can see that you can scarcely meet those obligations because everything went up. Water by 60%, electricity about 3 or 4 times, because it was not just VAT, it was also the excise tax on fuel. And therefore your bill just shot up in the air. There were people who were paying $100 for electricity before they came to power. Those people are now paying $300. You get shortchanged. You get shortchanged. But it wasn't just in the area of your utility bills. There are young people from Water Street and Gall Hill and Silver Hill who believe that when the Democratic Labour Party condemned the Barbados Labour Party's involvement in big business, that meant that when the Democratic Labour Party came to government, that they would make you the center of their interests. I am sure that you had an expectation that you would get a little contract, that you would get a job, that you would get a pay. But what did the Democratic Labour Party do? Their government was a government that was characterized by nepotism and favoritism. The only people in Barbados who received contracts for the last 5 years were the friends and the family of Democratic Labour Party. And that is wrong. There are many skilled practitioners in this environment. Many guys who are skilled technically and vocationally. But you know what? They built Coverley. They built Coverley, 1,000 houses on 22 acres of land. How many boys from Water Street or Gall Hill get a little pick as a plumber? How many got a pick as a carpenter or a mason? None. None. Because the contract was all inclusive. Not one of you get a job up in Coverley. Not one. You get shortchanged again. Again. But the greatest way in which Barbados was shortchanged was in the area of leadership. Leadership. Barbados was accustomed to leaders, whether B or D, who work on behalf of this country. We know that. They worked day in and day out. They made sure that Barbados retained its ratings. But when the Democratic Labour Party came to power, the first thing that they did was to lower the expectation of what an elected representative was supposed to do for you. And rather than raising the standard, as Barbados has always known a standard to be raised, where we were admonished to strive for the goal, all you could hear from the Democratic Labour Party is, some people have it worse. It could have been worse. We ain't the worst. Barbados has never known. We have never known an administration that aspired for the bottom. We have always had administrations that worked in the interest of Barbadians and kept us afloat. But this government, incompetent as they are, have reduced this country to junk today. And we get shortchanged. But I want to say to you that we no longer have to accept that this Barbados economy cannot be managed, that our social affairs cannot be managed. I want to say to you today that just because the Democratic Labour Party has not been able to successfully manage our affairs, in spite of whatever external challenges may exist, that does not mean that other administrations cannot do it. And therefore, when you hear the Barbados Labour Party team roll out its plans of how we are going to revive the drooping economy that we find, do not be swayed by them talking scornfully about if Owen Arthur has a magic bullet. Owen Arthur does not have a magic bullet. What he has is a good, sound brain on his head, experience as an economist and a prime minister. He is fully supported by a dedicated team of Barbados Labour Party candidates who have your interests at heart. And because we are dedicated to you, we are dedicated to your well-being, we are committed to working on your behalf, I can stand here with confidence and say to you that all the short change that you had experienced for the past 5 years will now come to an end. You can make that happen. You can make the difference. On election day, I am asking you first and foremost to vote for yourself. Give yourself a chance because you deserve better and Barbados deserves better. And when you have determined that you deserve better, I am certain, I am confident that your only vote will go to the person who will give you that opportunity, Margot Durant-Callender. And so I ask you, on election day, go out in your numbers. Vote for Margot, vote for the Barbados Labour Party. A better tomorrow is coming. Good night. God bless.